Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Janine McGowan, and I design cross stitch as the blue flower. It's another beautiful day here in northern Nevada, and it's actually been such nice weather. We've been able to have the windows open during the day, so I'm I'm almost ashamed to admit, last night I was having so much fun with the windows open, just reading in bed, enjoying the night breeze, that I stayed up way past my bedtime just soaking it in. So this morning I was a bit of an undercaffeinated zombie, but it was totally worth it because that is such a nice feeling when the windows are open and you can just really enjoy all the fresh spring scents in the air. Bliss. All right, jumping right in today, we have tons of good stitching in action. My word, you've been busy. And first off, we have Bees in the Greenhouse by Catherine. She did a great job finishing. I've got a couple photos here so you can see. And if any of you have purchased Bees in the Greenhouse, there is a tutorial on the website on how to finish it. I've had some requests to do a similar shape finish for Jingle Ball, so I'm still thinking about that one. But in the meantime, there is a step-by-step on the website to help. But I love her finish, and it seems silly, but I especially love the way she chose that beautiful contrasting color for the tassel on top. I think it just came out so well, and thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing that. Next up, Happy Campers. Susan stitched this on 20 count color and cotton aged paper, which came out beautifully. I love it. And her husband actually made the frame for this. So props to both of you, Susan and your husband. I think that is just beautiful. Next up, we have Language of Flowers Piece by Teresa. She used the called for DMC on 32 count Lugana from Fiber on a Whim. And the frame, I think, is so interesting because it's navy and brown, which I wouldn't have thought of, but I think it goes wonderfully. So it's yet another example of just be open to new things and try it and see what you think. Well done, Teresa. Next up, we have the Spring Quail Biscornu by Rebecca, and she actually took the Biscornu class last Jingle Ball, and so has become a whiz at this Biscornu finish and is even teaching other people in her stitch group, which I absolutely love that. And then she finished not just the Spring Quail Biscornu, which is the little dogwood flower, but several other pieces to make this beautiful display. And this is all on the called for, it's called Skyfall linen by Barbarall Creations. She bought extra and she is putting it to good use, and I love the way she's made this whole design for spring. So thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you for sharing your Biscornu finishing knowledge with others. That's just the best thing. All right, finally, we have Tudor Hare, and this is stitched by a different Rebecca. She used 28 count Lugana from Legacy, and she changed the ears, which I freely admit the original was modeled on a European hare in keeping with the theme, and they have extraordinarily large ears. So she switched that up a little bit to be a little bit more what she was used to seeing, which I love. And she played around with the colors from what she had on hand, but still in the same palette. I think it came out beautifully, and I love her personalization on it. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing that. Now, as always, if you have a blue flower design that you've stitched and you want to share it, I would love to hear from you. And if you're looking for inspiration, you can check out the website and see what other stitchers have done. What I'm stitching is models, so I have no personal stitching to show this time. No personal stitching has happened since the last video, but that's okay. And if any of you are coming to Quilter Station, you will probably see me stitching on the summer release models because they may be finished up while I'm there. So something to look forward to. Stash Spotlight. As I've said in the last couple videos, we tend to come back from market with a lot of things because it's basically our trade show. So this week I'm spotlighting some of the fabrics, and starting off with a perpetual favorite, Fiber on a Whim. I picked up a lot of Cafe au Lait, which I've had before. Quite like this color. It's a nice neutral, and that's always going to be tough to show in the lighting. But I also picked up Moonstone. They've got this new gemstone series happening, and I love that. These are nice, interesting neutrals. I also got two of their darker ones. These are Cocoa and Earth. And I've had Cocoa before that I've used, but I haven't used Earth, so I'm looking forward to that. And then again, more in the vibrant gemstone theme, I've got Sapphire, Malachite, and Spicy Mustard, which is not a gemstone, but is still a lot of fun. So those will be lots of fun to work with. And then from Fox and Rabbit, we have two new ones that they introduced at market. This one here is called Dust Bunny. It's a nice grayish, which I love, but with some good dimension. And this one is called Inca, which is a little bit warmer in tone. Beautiful fabrics. And then I picked up a few from Lapin Loops. These are, I'm going to get these right here. This is called Small Potatoes. I love it. It's a nice neutral with, again, some dimension. And this one is called Campfire Smoke, which is a lovely sort of mottled blue-gray color. So very useful colors. I'm sure I will be making use of them in the coming year. All right, world around. This time it's the California ground squirrel, and this is actually the squirrel that I see most often near my house, and it took me a while to figure out what it was. It's not quite like other squirrels that I'm used to seeing, like the gray squirrel that I talked about last time. You can see it's ticked all over, has this sort of white spots, and it has little white spectacles. They seem a little bigger to me than the squirrels that I'm used to, but it may just be because they're so low on the ground and they kind of hunch over sometimes. But I actually saw one just the other day at the nursery roaming around collecting seeds and food. So I thought it would be a good time to learn about them. They have recently expanded into Western Nevada, so they're newer residents here from the coast and over the Sierras. They live on the ground rather than in trees, as the name suggests, specifically in burrows. And those burrows can house large community groups, but at least several places that I read said that each squirrel has its own entrance to the burrow, even though there's a lot of crisscrossing community space. I thought that was interesting. They hibernate in the winter if it's cold. If not, they may stay active year-round, but they also do something called, I'm going to get it right here, estivation, which is not hibernation, but is a similar behavior, and that happens in the summer. They may do that just for a few days if it's very hot and dry, which frankly, kind of so do I. It's just a period of low activity, not an official hibernation season. They eat primarily seeds, plants, fruit, nuts, anything like that, and they can store food in their cheeks for later, which is very handy. And this I found very interesting. They've developed some defense mechanisms against one of their primary predators, which is the rattlesnake. Because of that, some populations even have developed some resistance to rattlesnake venom, and they have several coping mechanisms to handle rattlesnake predation. One is that if they encounter snake, they will vigorously kick sand or dirt at it, which will force the snake to rattle, and that gives them a better gauge of the size and activity level of the snake. They also have a unique tail adaptation. They have a very bushy tail, which isn't used to keep them warm, but they can actually pump blood supply into the tail, which heats it up. And since snakes will use heat detection to find their prey, this tail suddenly becomes a big waving red flag, and they do wave it vigorously around in hopes of confusing the snake, making themselves seem larger and not worth hunting, and also signaling to other squirrels that there's a predator. So they have all these really interesting adaptations specifically for the rattlesnake. They are also hunted by other things, including, weirdly enough, a great blue heron, and certainly some other predatory hawks as well. So that I thought was really interesting, and I will enjoy knowing more about them the next time that I see a California ground squirrel anywhere in my neighborhood. All right, questions. Last video was your favorite movie monster, so I got some fun responses. Thank you all. This time the question is, as usual, completely random, but how do you feel about marmalade? I love marmalade. I have quite a sweet tooth, but I also love that marmalade is bitter, and I was having some for breakfast this morning, which made me think of it. And it was a very bitter grapefruit marmalade, and it was just the best thing with a little bit of coffee and gets the blood flowing. But I know not everyone likes it, so I was curious how you feel about marmalade. All right, best thing. My goodness, this video is flying by. I seem to have caffeinated myself into speed this morning. But best thing this week is that I am getting ready for Quilter Station Retreat next week. I'm so excited that I will get to see some of you there. And for this weekend, I'm just wrapping up. They had some more attendees come in, so I'm putting together a few more kits to bring along and make sure that everyone has something to work on. But I'm very excited to see you, to stitch in person with people, and to see other designers. It's going to be a great time. Giveaway. Last video was this great Living on the Hedge from the Elegant Thread, and it still makes me smile every time I see it. The winner of that one is Mrs. Bobbin Lacer. We always have a nice chat in the comments, so I'm thrilled that you have won this, my friend. Please drop me an email or a message with your mailing address and I will get this headed to you. Giveaway this video, since I was talking about fabric, I thought it would be appropriate. This is called Bells on Bobtails from Fiber on a Whim, and I know it's sort of inspired by a Christmas design, but to me it feels very, very summery. With the chart that I've worked on for the retreat, I'm just in this mode of sunshine and bright sunflowers and all of these things. So this one felt like it went with this. So if you use the word sun in your comments, I'll pick a winner for the next video, and you'll get this lovely 40 count Fiber on a Whim Bells on Bobtails fabric. That's actually it for me. Like I said, I've gone quickly, maybe subconsciously too, because the boys are out walking the dogs, and so I'm wrapping up before the chaos returns to the house. But I hope you have an absolutely lovely weekend. It was a treat to spend time with you today, and I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks, which will be after my Quilter Station retreat, so I'll give you the full update on that, and I hope you have a lovely spring weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Puppy video to come, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.